Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar was a prominent figure in Egypt during the early 19th century. He rose to prominence under the reign of Muhammad Ali Pasha. Al-Silahdar was known for his ruthlessness and ambition. He quickly gained power and influence, making him a formidable force within the Egyptian elite. Al-Silahdar was entrusted with significant responsibilities. He used his position to amass wealth and expand his control. However, his methods were often considered unethical and cruel. He disregarded the well-being of the people he ruled. Al-Silahdar's actions would leave a lasting mark on Egypt. He left a legacy of destruction and exploitation, tarnishing his reputation for generations to come. Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar became infamous for his relentless pursuit of personal gain. He would stop at nothing to achieve his ambitions, including demolishing numerous architectural marvels across Cairo. These buildings held cultural, religious, and social significance. Mosques, symbols of faith and community, were not spared. Al-Silahdar saw them as nothing more than sources of readily available building materials. Schools and lodges, essential for education and accommodation, were also targeted. Their destruction represented a devastating loss for the city's intellectual and social fabric. The demolition of these structures was not merely an act of architectural vandalism. It was a symbol of Al-Silahdar's disregard for the people. He was willing to sacrifice their heritage for his own selfish desires. This disregard for the sanctity of these buildings sparked outrage and resentment among the populace. Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar's actions went beyond mere destruction. He systematically dismantled mosques, schools and lodges in the Mamluk desert. These structures were built with intricate designs and precious materials. They represented centuries of craftsmanship and cultural heritage. Instead of preserving these architectural treasures, Al-Silahdar saw an opportunity for profit. He ordered the demolition of these buildings. He then repurposed their materials for his construction projects. This included the bricks, stones, and even decorative elements. These were stripped from the structures and reused in his own ventures. Al-Silahdar's actions were driven by a combination of greed and a disregard for the sanctity of these buildings. He saw no problem in profiting from the destruction of cultural heritage. This act of desecration further fueled public anger and cemented his reputation as a ruthless opportunist. The people watched in horror as their history was literally dismantled brick by brick. Khan al-Khalili, a bustling marketplace in the heart of Cairo, became another target for Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar's exploitative schemes. He established an agency within this historic market. This agency was designed to generate revenue by renting out shops. However, Al-Silahdar's methods were far from ethical. He recognized the prime location of Khan al-Khalili. He understood its potential for generating wealth. He used his influence and power to seize control of numerous shops within the market. He then rented these shops out at exorbitant rates. This created a system where merchants were forced to pay exorbitant rents just to maintain their businesses in a prime location. The high rents placed a significant financial burden on the merchants. Section 5. The crushing weight of greed, merchants and populace bear the brunt. Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar's actions had a devastating impact on the merchants and the general populace of Cairo. The demolition of mosques, schools and lodges led to the loss of valuable community spaces. It also resulted in the destruction of irreplaceable architectural heritage. The repurposing of materials from these demolished structures for his own projects deprived local craftsmen and laborers of potential work. Al-Silahdar's agency in Khan al-Khalili, with its exorbitant rents, further exacerbated the financial strain on merchants. As a result of Al-Silahdar's greed, the cost of goods and services in Cairo rose. This made it increasingly difficult for ordinary citizens to afford basic necessities. The once thriving city began to experience a decline in its economic and social well-being. Section 6. Waqf properties desecrating sacred trusts for personal enrichment. Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar's disregard for religious and cultural values extended to his dealings with Waqf properties. Waqf properties are charitable endowments, typically consisting of land or buildings. These properties are designated for religious or charitable purposes. They are meant to benefit the community and are considered sacred trusts. However, Al-Silahdar saw these properties as another opportunity for personal gain. He used his authority to seize control of Waqf properties. He then exploited them for his own financial benefit. He leased them out for profit, diverting funds that were intended for the poor and needy. His actions demonstrated a blatant disregard for religious principles and ethical conduct. He treated sacred trusts as personal assets. This disregard for the sanctity of Waqf properties further eroded public trust and fueled resentment towards his rule. Section 7. Voices of the Voiceless. Al-Jabati chronicles the people's plight. Al-Jabati, a renowned Egyptian historian, documented the reign of Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar. He provided valuable insights into the suffering inflicted upon the people. Al-Jabati's chronicles paint a grim picture of Al-Silahdar's rule. He describes the widespread hardship caused by his policies. Al-Jabati writes of the public outcry against the demolition of mosques and schools. He details the despair of merchants forced to pay exorbitant rents in Khan al-Khalili. He also highlights the plight of workers subjected to harsh treatment and unfair wages under Al-Silahdar's watch. The people groan under the weight of his tyranny, writes Al-Jabati. Their voices, though filled with anguish, fall on deaf ears. Al-Jabati's chronicles serve as a poignant reminder of the human cost of unchecked ambition and greed. His words provide a voice to the voiceless, ensuring that the suffering endured during Al-Silahdar's reign is not forgotten. Section 8. A legacy of exploitation, the enduring impact of Al-Silahdar's actions. Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar's legacy is forever tainted by his ruthless pursuit of wealth and power. His actions left an enduring impact on Cairo and its people. The demolition of mosques, schools and lodges resulted in the loss of irreplaceable architectural treasures. It also created a void in the city's social and cultural fabric. His exploitation of merchants through exorbitant rents in Khan al-Khalili stifled economic growth and created hardship for countless families. Al-Silahdar's disregard for Waqf properties undermined charitable institutions and deprived the poor and needy of much-needed support. The scars of Al-Silahdar's reign serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked power and greed. His actions left a lasting legacy of resentment and distrust. Section 9, the final chapter, Death of an Architect, Legacy of Destruction. In 1845, Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar met his end. The circumstances surrounding his death remain shrouded in mystery. Some believe he died of illness, while others whisper of foul play. Regardless of the cause, his passing marked the end of an era defined by exploitation and destruction. Despite his attempts to leave behind a legacy of grand constructions, Al-Silahdar's name became synonymous with greed and ruthlessness. The buildings he erected could not erase the memory of the architectural treasures he had destroyed. His death did not bring an end to the suffering he had inflicted. The economic hardship, the loss of cultural landmarks, and the erosion of trust and authority continued to plague Cairo long after he was gone. Section 10. Reflections on Power. Lessons from a Reign of Ruthlessness. The story of Suleiman Agha Al-Silahdar serves as a cautionary tale about the corrupting nature of power. His relentless pursuit of wealth and influence blinded him to the suffering he inflicted. This ultimately tarnished his legacy and left an indelible mark on Cairo's history. Al-Silahdar's reign reminds us that true leadership lies in serving the people, preserving cultural heritage, and upholding ethical principles. His story serves as a stark reminder that power, when wielded without compassion or integrity, can lead to destruction and despair. By studying the past, we can learn from the mistakes of those who came before us. We can strive to build a future where power is used for the betterment of society, not for the enrichment of a select few.